A warm welcome to. I'm too loud, right? I can.
Baseline.
I will speak down a bit. Hello. Yeah. All right. So welcome to the panel. How is the blockchain useful for the music industry? Thanks for showing up. I think Björn from Rocky, who should have been part of the discussion, is not here. He might join later via video or something. But in the meantime, I'd like to introduce the guys on stage. Starting on the left, Dan Duncan from Pig and Dan.
Hi, everybody. That's my name.
Christian Smith.
Hello.
And
Hello.
Mark Striegel.
Nice to meet you.
And what these three guys and I have together, that we, the four of us, founded the company Crypto DJs, which is a venture around building community in Web3, building community around techno music, to be precise. So that's why Mika and the guys from the conference thought we might be able to say some reasonable things around blockchain and NFTs, and that's what we're trying to do in the next couple of minutes, half an hour, something. Can you do that? 30 minutes on stage?
We've done it before.
Turntables and it works.
A few times.
After 2 years of not playing, we'll try that. All right. NFTs, like everyone's talking about the blockchain and NFTs and how that might be useful for the music industry. Most of you might know NFTs as colorful pictures that are sold for ridiculous prices on the internet. Like the crypto kitties and the apes and pigs and llamas and like whatever animals are out there as PNGs, JPEGs on the blockchain. But maybe as a quick introduction, so what is this NFT thing about at all? So what is an NFT? Who'd like to answer that one as an introduction?
Shall I do the technical side? I'll do the technical side, and Dan goes for explain it in a beautiful kind of language. Oh, you want to go first? Good.
Yeah, for me, an NFT is very much a certificate of authenticity for a digital asset, a kind of watermark on something that's digital. It can be visual, it can be audio, it can be even a real life thing like a jumbo jet or anything you care to attach to it. But the thing that makes it unique is you chop a piece out of a chain called a blockchain, which we've all heard a million times, and we attach that specific code to that file or that asset. And that's basically the breakdown of what an NFT is. I think, personally, I think there's still quite a bit of mystery out there when it comes to the reality of what people think it is. But
Okay. And why is it cool to attach a piece of code to a jumbo jet?
come on, man.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, I think it's straightforward. So if you have basically that token, no, which is the kind of actual kind of product of that blockchain, which basically is the certificate of authenticity, you actually are able to kind of transfer ownership, for example, in a much easier way, because those tokens, these electronic assets, can be traded very easily on marketplaces or even in a kind of peer-to-peer transaction. So that's one kind of obvious reason why it makes sense. Instead of moving the jumbo jet in one garden, you just move on the blockchain the kind of ownership between two so-called wallets, the ownership of that certificate of authenticity.
All right, which means that by putting something on the blockchain and attaching it to a specific token, that thing gets unique.
Exactly, and that's what as well non-fungible token says, in contrast to fungible token. So fungible elements are like currencies. Now, $1 note is like the same if you basically exchange it to any other dollar note. For non-fungible items, you basically have that uniqueness. Not that serial number of that item exists only once, and that's a non-fungible token, NFT.
All right, cool. I think I got it.
Hopefully.
The question is, hello? Yes. Do you get it? But to really simplify NFT, it's digital artwork. It's like instead of buying a painting, you have a digital painting, and it's yours, and you can sell it, you can keep it, you can trade it with other people. So yeah, simplified version is this basically. And the same goes for Crypto DJs. Well, I don't want to jump the gun.
That would have been my next question, so just go ahead.
Crypto DJs is, they started basically a series of DJ cards, which are not NFTs, which are original cards, and which you can trade, which you can purchase, and which you can trade, and which also comes with benefits. You know, like American Express. You know, it has, you know, membership has its benefits, and it's the same with Crypto DJs. For example, we do demo feedback sessions. We have released, or we are releasing music that was sent to us through other people who have purchased our NFTs. And yeah, it's just building a community, you know, and this is something we are not looking to be the next big thing overnight and get rich fast. Rather, we're looking at building a community, giving back, working together, and having fun while doing this.
Yeah, and I think you make a very important point. It's about authenticity. Not only a certificate of authenticity, but like there's authentic artists behind that NFT. We discussed before the CryptoKitties or so, there's no real person behind it. No? So we really intentionally kind of made sure that it's a representation of a human and our kind of fantastic artists we have in there. And that's kind of what we want to set ourselves apart to many of those kind of like an NFT drops out there, which are very impersonal or are artificial only. No?
All right, thank you. And I think we'll come back to Crypto DJs, the future of Crypto DJs later. But first, like you are not the only ones, like not the only players, like in the NFT and music space or in the NFT and dance music space. But there's a couple of other guys, and I think Dan, you were like inclined in a couple of other projects with artists who are kind of front runners in that space. So what kind of cases have you seen in the last couple of months with people that you're working with, and what do you think are like what is the magic in these cases that the guys realized?
Well, I think one of the leaders for me would probably be deadmau5, who's somebody we've worked with and known for a long time, but watched him go into a much deeper version of just releasing a JPEG. He kind of attached a whole musical, audio, visual experience with artists that were only known very much in that realm. And I think what he did was he brought a lot of attention from the music industry into the NFT space and a lot of the NFT space into the music industry. And I think, you know, what is really important is to try and find a way to engage with both communities in the best way possible. And I'm really watching people like deadmau5 has inspired us all, I think, in a way, because he's a complete nutcase when it comes to anything technological. He's a right leader in that kind of market. And also, I've been doing projects outside of Crypto DJs with Gregor Tresher, for example, where we released some techno records with a long visual experience to do with it, and we experienced far more success than we ever would have thought would ever come out of it, because we kind of thought, well, you know, what are we doing? But it was received well, and it made me see that art and music can work in synergy in a really cool way. And I think the NFT space opens a hell of a lot of doors to things that maybe would not have happened previously.
All right, so which sounds great. So there's like lots of stuff that you can do. You like artistic expression becomes like gets like a new carrier in a way, or like a new space where you can do new things. But tricky question, like what are the benefits for the fan? Like if he buys music as an NFT and not just like as a vinyl or CD or MP3 or whatever, why should I as a fan buy artwork like as an NFT? What's the deal?
Well, it's limited for one.
Okay.
You know, so it can appreciate in value, and whereas you know you just buy something that is unlimited, it's less appealing.
Yeah, I think, I wanted to talk about exclusivity because in the music industry, we live in a very saturated world these days where anybody can obtain the same thing globally. And I think exclusivity is one of the main reasons that I got into this whole thing, was because you're bringing back value to something for somebody who collects what you do. So instead of just bringing out a record that anybody can buy and selling as many as you can, you're actually bringing out something that has exclusivity like a vinyl did previously. There was only 100 or there was only 200 white labels made of that specific record. So for me, it's very exciting to offer something to a fan that is unique and exclusive.
All right, so if I read between the lines, you are saying that music is devaluated these days.
Yep.
All right.
Kind of. I mean, in a way it is. It's saturated.
All right.
I don't think it's devalued, but I think with all the companies that, dare I say, take a piece of the pie, the artist is often the one that comes out in the end with the least. And this is a very cool way to empower artists again with it, cutting out many of the middlemen.
And I think that's the key, no? Being able to connect directly with your fans. That a lot of the discussions we had together was saying, hey, this NFT, as it's so easy to move around and kind of to deal with, it's very personal. It basically gives us a chance to kind of cut out some of the intermediaries. But building on the question, why is it great to have an NFT outside of the kind of direct relationship? Like a few very practical things, like it's a digital token, no? So you can basically upgrade your watch face or so with it, and you really can take it differently than if it would be a physical item. And I think we more and more use some technical devices as well to create our identity and kind of show our identity. So I think it's a very practical way to say I want to have this digital at least, and not kind of only in the real world. And then let's take this a step further, and I think it has already been indicated. Assume I'm a fan, and kind of early on I realize an artist that must be a super artist, and that artist gives out 500 NFTs which are each unique, and I'm getting 2 or 3 of them. And let's assume, fast forward 2 years later, that's a super global artist, super successful. There's much more demand behind it. So I can actually, as a fan, somehow invest into an artist by selling, investing into the kind of NFT first, and then sell it on. I have 3, so I'm selling on 1. I still keep 2 at a significantly higher price. And so I'm basically somehow building a bit of a fan economy out of that. And then a third aspect, and for those who are kind of a bit in the gaming space and have heard about Metaverse, which I might kind of just describe as it's a virtual world out there which is built on blockchain, so it's not owned by a gaming operator, but like a decentralized, a community of people. You can actually take those NFTs and use that in that kind of 3D immersive world. For example, use the NFT, put it into your, let's say, virtual stereo system and get it running while you're basically living in that kind of metaverse world. No? So I think that's the reason why those kind of NFTs are a great starting point to kind of open up a new set of experiences, which you wouldn't have if it's just like a physical good.
All right, okay.
We haven't brushed on community too much either.
No, not yet, but let me sum it up here, just intermediate. So there's three things with these NFTs. The first one is the direct relationship. So it takes you back, you're selling your merch after your gig, directly to your fans without a middleman in there. So it's like good old days, but in a virtual world in a way, cutting out the labels and publishers. Secondly, you have the ability to crowdfund your artist in a new way, so you can contribute to his art.
Or even make money with it by selling it on.
Make money with it. So it's having equity in an artist in a way. It sounds very technical, but it is what it is. Third one is you can build experiences for, I don't know, the maybe upcoming Second Life. That's what it was called a couple of years ago, but now it works. So that are new experiences that have not been realized in the music realm before. like coming back to the artist perspective, like Christian, when you joined Crypto DJs early on, I think it was last year, November, October, I don't know. You were there like right from the beginning. What were your reasons why you think it was a good idea?
Well, I was always intrigued by, when I was a kid, I was a big Star Wars fan. And I bought these small stickers you can get. You buy a pack and you get like 4 cards in there. You know, and it's like collecting cards. And then later I was aware of baseball cards. You know, like in America, people collect baseball cards like crazy. They trade them. And this is basically the same. We are DJs. We are artists. Like these baseball players are professional athletes. We are far from athletes, but you know, we have our fan base. We have our fan bases, and having a limited run of cards, you know, is logical and makes complete sense. You know, it's like, let's say there's maybe 200-300 DJs in the world that travel the globe, and you know, to be part of that is something really cool. And obviously we are still in our infant stages, and there's a lot of growth potential. And I really think the more artists that we get, the more interesting this project will become. But yeah, I wanted to be part of this from the beginning, and I'm really excited what we've done so far.
Okay, yeah, cool. And I heard that you, like Crypto DJ started out with the idea to be like a fan token. And like we kind of like caught up trying reaching regular music fans and like NFT nerds on the other hand, which was kind of tricky. So we had like 2 target audiences. Like, and in the end, we managed to reach none of them, like to be honest. But what we discovered on the way, which is way more exciting, so it was not a failure. So we tried to do it. Found out that we were not able to create like an NFT hype on Discord, like the apes or kittens or whatever. But what we realized is that like the most loyal fans of DJs are DJs indeed, which is kind of interesting. So
or aspiring artists.
Or aspiring artists. So what happened on the way is that like from the idea of building a digital trading card game, like grew a community of aspiring artists. As Mondo from New York sitting, he flew in today, by the way. Good to see you, man. And so we reworked the whole thing, and are now like reviewing the product, and building on that community, which I think is exciting because it is a 4th part, and it's not advertising Crypto DJs. It's talking about community, what you wanted to do a couple of minutes before, because I think we found out that using this technology is a good like driver or a good means to build community, and even smaller communities, and not just like go for the millions, but for like the thousands like up and coming artists who are interested in learning more about their craft.
Yeah, I just want to say
It was a long question, I'm sorry for that.
No, but the engagement is a key factor here, and I think that was also one of the reasons I wanted to start working with Crypto DJs, was because we were losing, due to social media and all these barriers we have between the fan and the artist, we were losing abilities to engage. And I felt that Crypto DJs very much proved to us that if you look at, for example, Mondo, who we keep on bringing up, who's going to get it this whole session, we engaged with an artist who wasn't terribly recognized in the market, and were able to enhance his career in some way by just giving feedback and connecting with that fan, even though it's an artist. And we have elevated his career quite rapidly because of the support we've given him as a company. So it's a win-win situation, and I think that's something that lacks greatly in the music industry right now, is the give and take. I think give and take has been really taken away by by, I won't say by who, but it's been diluted enormously. And I think my passionate part of being part of this project is the fact that we can engage with our fans in a new form instead of just through perception and Facebook and Instagram and social media.
Yeah, and I think I'd say it was always our principle to really take community building serious. That means as well you really need to listen to the community. And like I think the way we started in the very beginning, kind of then you were with us, is to say let's first think about the artists and really give artists a stage. Don't build a kind of media company type which sits in the middle, but rather build a service provider so that artists, and not only 8 or 10, but like one day hopefully hundreds of artists, can use that tool set and they are in control. So the first thing, like listen to that community of artists. And now when we then had launched and dropped, like especially our Discord community was highly involved in shaping how we're basically taking Crypto DJs forward. So we did, like you did, like quite early on, kind of some surveys. What do you really need? What would be most helpful for you? What would kind of drive you forward? So we basically are adjusting kind of Crypto DJs and what's on offer, as you basically outlined as well, with that shift from maybe only the fans to fans and aspiring artists. You do that by listening to the community and take that in, and therefore truly living up to that kind of being community led. And interestingly, we have two communities, the artist side and the fan side. And that's kind of, I think the real thing what we're trying to kind of mix together and really have them help each other, as Dan outlined.
Christian, would you like to add on the community bit? Like, because may I spoil it, or do you want to talk about what happened to Mondo and Sam from our community and what working with them means to you?
Well, we had one idea. To give a demo feedback, because a lot of the people that purchased the cards are aspiring artists. So we decided, okay, to all the people that purchased our card or some of our cards, you have access to a demo. You can send us your demo tracks, and we will give you. This was Dan and I had a session, and we will give you direct feedback as how we like it, how you can improve it. And as a result of that demo session, I signed 2 tracks to my label, Tronic, one of which was Mondo, this guy over there, and an English guy called Sam Kitt. And this release is coming out in 1 or 2 weeks, and I really like the tracks. I did not sign them because they purchased Crypto DJ cards, but I signed them because I genuinely like them. And another benefit, which I am very impressed with, is that Dan just made an edit of one of the tracks from Sam Kitt, the other guy who I signed a track from. So imagine you get feedback from us, we sign your track, and then you get a Pig and Dan remix out of the blue. So membership has its privileges. And we are thinking of other things such as this, many different ways of engaging with the people that with the community, and it's fun as well. This is really important too. It's not just business; it's fun, and I've been in this industry for 20+ years. It's important to give back. It's like I really enjoy. Giving feedback to up-and-coming artists and to mentoring up-and-coming artists, it's really, really important. And this is just another outlet for me to do this.
All right, cool. So let's take it like a level higher again. So if you just said you signed like 2 artists through Crypto DJs, engaging with the community to your label, but you that music is released on Beatport as like music files, like the way you do it today. And like some of you might have read in the news that it's another techno example, but Snoop Dogg is turning Death Row into an NFT label, so that's what he's up to. So might be a consequent next step to not publish your music like as a regular music file, but through NFTs as well. So do you think that like blockchain publishing is a thing? And what are the benefits?
So, like, hey, these are the
Well,
the artists, so they should go first.
there are some really obvious benefits of being super exclusive and just releasing your album and selling it once. I think some hip hop artists did that. Yeah, it was for a couple of million euros.
Kanye, probably.
No, it was a hip hop artist. Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang.
Okay.
Yes, they sold an album for
One-off.
I think $3 million or something.
Yeah,
like
that one. Yeah.
One and so that's an obvious advantage, and that's much more than.
But yeah, okay.
I do that.
But I think amongst us DJs, I don't think we'll have that kind of financial return.
Okay. Follow-up question: like, with you not being Ghostface Killer or Redman, like, how can artists make money with NFTs?
In many ways. No,
but like let's
it's endless.
Yeah.
It's endless.
Yeah, no, but it's peel that a bit. So I think the first step is, and that's what we already kind of experience with Crypto DJs as well, and others, simply doing a drop. No? You basically sell that piece of art or that piece of content. Actually, no? Some of them actually had, even the DJ cards had some kind of unreleased content to it. So that's the first step. No? That's kind of quite obvious. Then the second step is, and I think that's very interesting, is the kind of royalty opportunities from trading. No? And for those who are a bit more into the kind of the NFT space, so there's a kind of an eBay for NFTs, which is called OpenSea. The very interesting thing is if a card is traded or an NFT is traded on OpenSea, like there's OpenSea keeps a share as a commission, as a trading venue, and the artist and the original creator can get a piece, and they call it royalty, kind of back on it. So that means, in the end, the artists can not only kind of earn money in the kind of at the moment of drop and selling a piece of artwork, which they could have done in the past with like e-commerce. It's actually kind of let's say immutably written into the blockchain that every single time this is traded on, a certain percentage of royalty from that trading goes back to the artist. So like the really interesting kind of long-term kind of NFT projects, they bank on that this outcome and the income from royalty payments over the next 10 years, it's significantly higher than the money they make from the very first drop. So, and I think that's a fundamental improvement of that blockchain system versus the kind of old content system. And then the third one, and we'll come to that maybe a bit later, as I indicated before, you can take these NFTs into the Metaverse and offer new experiences there, which you might kind of be able to monetize either in a sponsorship way or to extra kind of service payments which come from your fans. Okay, which means you're like tying it back to the music industry. You're indicating if you're doing a pure blockchain play, you would neither need a publisher, nor a label, nor a royalty collecting company. Yeah, now by the way, very good point. There's even a kind of another component. What you can actually regard this NFT like a security. You said equity before, no? So there's kind of artists out there, and I think Blau, who is kind of an amazing kind of young man, because he basically kind of could work in the financial services industry, and at the same time he's an amazing kind of artist. He has basically kind of founded a company called Royal, which is actually royalty management, and you can crowdfund an artist, and whatever they make from kind of royalties, even outside of trading kind of like cryptos or so, even in the standard kind of old music space, you can get a small share or a fraction of it by showing that you own that very specific NFT. No? So it becomes like a share in the artist. And that's another opportunity. Both when you trade NFTs, you get a royalty, and you can actually invest into an artist and get a share of the artist. And it's basically your right to basically these kind of crowd payments come from holding an NFT. I don't know whether that was now complicated, but it gives a lot of broad opportunities which go beyond what we see today. Oh no, it wasn't too complicated. So like to put it in a positive way, it's like kind of about democratizing music again. That's how I would take it in a way. So everyone can have his share of Dan. I don't know. I don't know if anyone wants that, but okay.
Probably not. But
all right. Okay. Cool. So I think there's I think it was a very, very, very good overview, even though it's a complicated topic. Like, before wrapping it up, I would ask like all of you for like your perspective on the future, because the title is how will like NFTs or blockchain change the music industry? And I think we touched a couple of areas which will probably change in the next couple of months and years. But what do you see beyond that? So what does it mean? Like, imagine today is 2000, let's say, 30. What will the music the music industry look like if blockchain succeeded, or if blockchain was adapted by the music industry? What is the music industry 2030? What are the players? What does it look like?
I think it'll be much more versatile. I think we will open so many new avenues in so many new ways that the creativity will be brought back into an industry which is starting to be built on fame rather than actual skill. And I would just love to see people blossom in a way that's to do with actually the content they're providing, instead of just what they're looking like or how good they are in how they're perceived. And I think it's much more back to the roots. I think it's back to what we used to be in the music industry many years ago, and I was even part of it thousands of years ago. And I think we lost a few of those things along the way, and I very much hope that NFT brings back that authenticity into an industry that's quite saturated, and that's my opinion.
Also, artists will start making money again, because let's face it, I run a label. These days, to make money selling music is close to impossible. You know, it's really. But when I started 20 years ago, I released records, and if you sell 10,000 vinyls, you make significant amount of money. You can make a good living on music. But now it's close to impossible. I mean, like I think my label is like top 3 selling labels on Beatport, and I just make enough to have 1 employee and break even. So that means that 99% of the labels on Beatport are losing money. So it's really, really crazy. The industry needs to change. So I think these NFTs will give artists hope as well to work harder, be more original, and creative. It's super, super important, what Dan said earlier.
And encourage them.
Totally.
Yeah.
So what would be a good way to start? So because you said like artists should embrace the new technology and work with it. So what would you tell them if there's an artist or like a small label that say like we want to learn more about that technology? How should they start? What should they do? Whom should they turn to?
Well, in essence, it's kind of similar to everything else. You need to build a community, build your fan base, create original content, try to combine things. It needs to be a little bit more complex, because if you just put one picture out there, you can make a lot of money with that, but it's better if you put a video with a song, something immersive. I would say can work very well. It has worked for you. He did a drop and it did very well. I haven't done yet, but I really should. Anyways, and yeah.
Yeah. And then he put everything in Luna and lost it all. That's Ethereum. That's the true story. But yeah, so just put money in there that you don't need anymore. I think that's the message now. All right, so I think we have some time to take some questions if there are any. We have a microphone, yeah. maybe with a quick introduction beforehand, and then like whom you'd like to answer the question.
Hey, yo, working? Hey, you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. Hi guys, I'm from Lisbon. I'm a multidisciplined artist, but also a businessman. So I try to combine both things. Now I'm doing a lot also like in music, but also like I'm financing artists like painters, and I have like in autumn a big project going on, which like I want to work with a lot of famous artists, which we publish and go to a big building in Lisbon, and then like publicity comes and it's like a big event. Also music will be a part of it. But the thing is now for me, I can make a lot of money by that, but actually I can also put all of these things and items into NFTs, and also could put these like in a room in the Metaverse. Am I right? Like I'm not sure, like maybe you are the professionals who can help me to make this happen and bring this project to the next state. Because in the long run, my vision is to create a foundation to work on mental health and stuff. So I want to put 90% of my income into my foundation. So that's the reason. It's like more safe, it's more stable, no one can take it, my stuff, and all this, what the artist created. So safety reasons, I can make more money to provide society more benefits. So the reason, or the question for me is now, is this possible to like create a virtual room to like sell all these items like there for like the older people, the old generation, and create on the same point like this second NFT-based, Metaverse-based thing? How can I do it? Like, is it possible to set this all up in like a couple of months, or is it too much work to realize all of that?
So the way I would look at it, I wouldn't say either or. The great thing is most likely you can combine that. And let me talk about like, there's quite a number of artists out there which basically offer two versions of the piece of art. The one which is basically physical and the other one digital. No? So you can either basically do it and link them up and say, hey, like, the digital part always belongs together with the physical part, and you have like a certificate of authenticity, or you go further, and that's like, the thought I had when you basically kind of outlined that is what Damien Hirst did. No? He basically said like there's 10,000 pieces of kind of different art called the currency. They exist in physical prints, and I'll basically do to each of the physical prints, which has a unique serial number, an NFT. And he's giving us the chance until July or so, if you hold the NFT, to turn it into kind of the physical item and get it shipped to you, but then the NFT is burnt. Or basically you keep the NFT and then he scraps the kind of physical world. No? So if you take that concept further, you might like take the choice with some of your artists to say, hey, let's do this digital twin thing and gamification. So like the fans can actually choose in which kind of the two worlds they want to basically keep the item and then take this forward. And I think it's a very interesting thing as well that the kind of holders can co-create that piece of art, which consists of a kind of physical and a digital version of it. So that's kind of number one. Your second question around like, is there already metaverses out there where I can like, make an exhibition of those items and even transact on it? I'd say yes, but. And the yeses, like technically it's basically there. You go Decentraland or Crypto Voxels are like the two ones I immediately think would be kind of would be fitting. The problem there is the level of engagement. So it's not like thousands of people who are kind of active at any certain minute at one very specific location of that kind of world. So you need to find a way to congregate like people as well in that digital world to create the interest and for your whatever piece of art which is kind of exposed there. And secondly, I don't think people are really used to basically go into the metaverse in that digital world, like enjoy the NFT and then actually transact with it. So the user experience to basically sell a piece of art in a virtual world is honestly quite clunky. I think those enthusiasts, they do it. I have done it, and I'll do it. But I'm definitely not representing the kind of vast majority of fans out there. No? So I'd be careful with a couple of months, not because it's not technically possible, but the adoption might not be at the point that your artists would be happy to basically, as well financially or from a business-wise, to have adequate demand out there, or you need to create it.
Yeah, and very practical addition, by the way. So whatever you do with NFTs, make sure that people can buy with credit card, because I think the crypto ownership in Germany is at 3%. It's a bit higher in the UK, with 5 point something. So you need to give people the chance to buy with like card or like fiat money, something that they know, because adoption of cryptocurrency is still really low.
And I read this morning a number on that, which is helpful. So in order to basically do true crypto-based transactions where you pay in cryptocurrencies, you need a Web3 wallet, a crypto blockchain wallet. And the most popular is MetaMask. MetaMask has around 30 million monthly active users. So now looking at kind of all the friends who are in the space, I'd say on average 2-3 wallets for one person. So what we're talking about is 10 million people who are active in a full crypto mode out of 7 billion out there. And most likely half of them sit in the United States, or at least not in Europe. Because like European adoption has been slower, obviously. So that's the scale where we're talking about crypto natives. So I can support your point that make sure that you build a lot of bridges as well in the kind of world we're now to for the next 1-2 years.
So for my understanding, it will be maybe easier just to do like the physical exhibition to sell them, but also hold back the NFTs for them and release them later, maybe when there's the right timing. Because as a businessman, you always think about the right timing to release something when the market is ready for it. Would be that then probably the best option? When I'm now following your words and try to process them.
I think it's hard to basically say whether that's your best option, but I really like the way you're thinking of not you being the one who boils the ocean, but you rather give the true collector the opportunity to collect both in the physical world, but move it into the digital or virtual world or blockchain world once they are ready to basically use this as their space of enjoyment, entertainment, or kind of appreciation.
And then like in the NFT world, I can just like multiply them. So just like I take the professional picture, and then I do like with filters or like do second layers, do like 10 or 100 out of one picture, and then get them into more collections. Let's say I have 30 pictures in my first exhibition and do like 10 to 100 on each of them. So I make like a big, a lot of them. But I need then for sure also the base that people want to trade on them and think that they're worth.
Exactly.
All right, I suggest you can talk numbers later. But thank you very much. Do we have another question? I'm just conscious of time, sorry. Thank you.
Hi. One question, if another party gets involved in creating an NFT collection, let's say a label that works together with a group of artists and releases an NFT collection, and then you have always the option in NFT space to sell it again, right? If you're a collector, you bought it, you can resell it. So if there are many other parties involved, it's not just the artist, how do you handle that end, or maybe even royalties? I don't know, is that a subject? If you have music and images tied together, so... Is there anything you should watch out for?
There is actually split in the smart contract that is attached to that NFT. So you can do the royalty split through the contract. So there could be like the percentage for the visual artist, the percentage for the musical artist, percentage for an agent or a label that is involved. And then you can set the split for the for the initial sale. And you can also set the split for the secondary market. So what each entity gets out of every resale. So you can totally do that with more than just 2 parties.
Yeah. All right. You're technical correct, just to be kind of clear, it's not as simple as you would say, look, you go on OpenSea and set the royalty for the label to 40% or so. OpenSea as a marketplace doesn't allow that much room of multi-party and certain size, but there is alternative marketplaces out there, or you can as well basically buy a market, like a trading marketplace out of a box as a service from providers, where you then can basically set those more complex like royalty distribution systems in there.
So is there any example you could give of these more, like that give more options, like, I don't know, looks rare, or I don't know?
Yeah, so like the easiest way is to switch over to another blockchain. For example, one is called Near, like close by, Near. They have really invested into making it creator friendly with multiple royalty components. That was kind of one thing. And there's a technology platform we used for Crypto DJs as well called Curious, and they would basically allow you to basically operate your own marketplace. If you're, the client disclaimer, if you're located in a jurisdiction which allows you to kind of, offer that trading venue, but that's a separate discussion.
But actually Portugal afterwards as well, close to Lisbon. Yeah. So would that be okay? Portugal, I guess, is a good Portugal.
So like generally, I'm not kind of clear about like the details how Portugal operates. However, Portugal is an amazing space when it comes to Web3 and the whole cryptocurrency movement. Like Portugal has shown they are attracting a significant number of people, which actually teams moving from Berlin to Lisbon, and I know a few of them, which basically kind of like operate there in a, let's say, more friendly, maybe less cautious kind of way. On the other side, to be clear, like while we're based here in Germany, like the German regulator, like BaFin, they have done a good effort by being pretty strict but clear. And that's a big advantage to many other countries out there, which might be lax, but suddenly surprising by saying, no, this is not allowed. No? Yeah. So I would say Portugal is a really great place to start. I don't know the details, when it comes to kind of an NFT marketplace and trading. Like Germany is harsh and clear, but like clear. And then there's other markets which, I would not feel the safety as an entrepreneur to basically build a business and then be struck by some surprising.
Yeah. Well, right now Portugal doesn't have any rules. They didn't figure it out, but they might come. We don't know. But for now, it's Wild West. It's like anything is possible. So far, that's what I heard. So
I can't comment it because I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, I would have another question. I'm working for a digital distributor here in Berlin for music. And we are also just looking at, okay, how interesting is this, NFTs, for us to be also maybe in the future able to distribute them, to offer our labels and artists the chance to distribute NFTs. And I'm just for myself asking, okay, do you know about the something about an adoption rate, how fast this is just spreading? And I'm also, from my personal experience, struggling a bit with the added value of the NFT, and that's why I'm asking about this adoption rate, because it's a kind of limitation and it's making the digital good more exclusive. But in the end, it's often the same usage, right? When I have a vinyl copy or an apple, I'm the only one who can eat the apple. But when I have a file that's been copyable, everybody can listen to the file or look at the picture, and it's just this virtual exclusivity added to our minds that gives it more value. And yeah, I'm just struggling a bit with this situation. Maybe you have some nice thoughts on this.
It's a pretty good question.
What, like with regards to if you have a problem, okay. I hope I understood what you said, but think about it that way. You have a Banksy print, okay, and it's a fake. Name. You can look at it every day, but if you have an original, you will look at it in a very different way.
Well, it'll have value.
That too, of course, because of that.
Completely different thing when a copy of something, especially in the NFT space, doesn't have the value because it's not associated with the certificate of authenticity, which we started this whole conversation about, was the fact that that's what's behind it, is the fact that it's unique. But you can copy anything. I mean, let's be realistic. You can. I mean, it's...
Do you think it's something that is lasts for a long term? I think what could work is when we have a kind of lock-in effect, when there's a network, people accepting it like a currency. It's basically the same. If nobody would accept the currency, we would have a problem at least with the currency, because we need somebody who accepts it when we want to buy something for it. And then maybe the same mechanism comes in when we look at NFTs. When there is a network big enough, which has acceptance and which accepts the value of it, then it's something that is stable enough to work, really. And that's why maybe the adoption rate, has somebody some information about this? How many people are using, selling, trading NFTs right now?
So I can, like, a few thoughts on that. Like, I like your perspective at the kind of, which you said, like, the value comes from the universal acceptance of that certificate of authenticity, clearly. My first answer to that would be, we are already a critical mass. No? There is kind of, enough people out there. And if we talk like double-digit millions, I would say, progressive people who are actually kind of starting to accept this proof of authenticity. Now, I would say, like, I think the first hump is there. It's not mass market yet and goes. So, second kind of thought around your adoption rate. I gave you like those 10 million number who are really fully in the crypto world. I can give you kind of indications. So there's nifty. And it's actually OpenSea, which is the biggest marketplace on the NFTs. We're talking in a quarter of like high hundred thousands of people who are trading actively NFTs. So I would assume we're talking about like a couple of millions who actually own NFTs.
Spread all over the world, or is there a
global across the world?
So
because it's a global marketplace. Okay. The other perspective, and I think that's what I'm taking. Like my age gives me a bit of an advantage. I have a 14-year-old son. And an 11-year-old son, 8-year-old son, ask them. And it's interesting, they share on their mobile phone, look, this is what my daddy bought as an NFT and so on. For them, it's really already starting to be normal. No? So I'm saying when that Gen Z, comes up, and that is not a long time until they are somehow influencing shaping significantly what we call the relevant set of people and influencing people.
For them, it's already the baseball card to collect.
Sorry?
For them, it's already the baseball card to collect.
Yeah, it's normal. Yeah? So I'd say let's not hope too much about us four here. Let's look kind of to our kids, and
I'm also
it's gone.
Slightly too old.
Yeah. Also, can I add something
Sure.
to that? Is one of the things about the value of an NFT compared to a vinyl, for example, is that you can attach other experiences or assets to it. So, for example, tonight we're doing an event at the Ritter Butzka, and anybody who's a card holder can enter that event for free. So that is an added bonus that you could never gain from any other kind of any other asset that you purchase as an MP3, or if you listen to a stream, or if you buy a vinyl. There's so many different angles which we're exploring greatly to find things that bring a special engagement and exclusivity to an asset that's much more rich for the person who's a fan or a consumer.
And maybe it's also not been done yet. There are also developments possible, right?
One more question in the front row. Okay, we can hear you. Just.
Just so they can
the other
record
ones.
it.
Yeah, just sure.
They want to record your voice.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah, hi, I'm Kati. My question related to that is, there's obviously, what you just said, there's added values to that. So what would be your tips or advice for artists specifically to use NFTs as part of the marketing or especially release campaigns? So the only thing that I've heard, for example, is that you can put your album cover into an NFT, but then you put the Dropbox or the download link into like a private message. So only the person that buys the NFT or owns it can actually see that download link. So then you can download the album or the song or whatever, which is a really cool way to market your release, ahead of time, or to make it really special. Do you have other examples or tips like this for artists to use NFTs?
Shall I start? Yeah. I think there's actually no boundaries because, like as Dan said, you can attach like basically anything to that blockchain. So what you could do apart from like a download link on Dropbox, you could, for instance, fractionalize the whole album and just sell pieces of that album so that I, as a user or as a buyer, really own that piece of the album. So it's just mine. So you can sell that album to like 1,000 people that own it and get rights to use collectively, like as a community, and then get the rights to use that album and use that art on there, which is really interesting. So it's a new way to transfer rights of use and rights of ownership as well, which ties back to the crowdfunding aspect, but it's kind of crowd ownership. What else can you do? You could sell not just fractions of the album, but different stems, for instance, or like channels of the mix or something. So you could like deconstruct the whole thing and have fans reconstruct it, like get playful with the music. Like you can go into co-creation with fans. It's limitless. Like we could do like a brainstorming workshop and let's do it right now.
We can talk for hours about this. Seriously, the amount of hours we've spent discussing this very subject, because it's endless. It is endless what you can do, and I think what excites me about this whole space is to see what the new artists will come up with, because it's a challenge, and I think we are challenged as artists anyway to find new ways to engage and to satisfy our fans or people that support what we do. How do we do something different and cutting edge? Christian Smith. Ta-da! I mean, obviously, there's so much you can do, especially on a personal level. If you think about it, I'll go back to Mondo. We actually started a relationship, a friendship between an artist and a supporter, which really enhanced the experience for himself, I believe, I hope, and all the other community watching it happen, because they wanted to be part of that. So the community grew, and the direct engagement between the artist and the supporter has become something that's attached to that asset. So there's so much more to this than just a digital file that you pay some money for.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question. Otherwise, if there's none, we'll... Okay, there's none. Great, so we're going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you guys for joining.
And thank you.
Thank you.